This is Deborah Hartmann-Preuss in Stoos, Switzerland, with Peter Stevens.
Hello, Deborah.
One of the organizers of the Stoos gathering.
Yes.
Tell us, what do you do?
I like to say I bring common sense into organizations, although common sense is actually the English translation of it. I'm an American living in Switzerland, so I speak German most of the time. Our expression in German is gesunde Menschenverstand. Gesund means healthy, and Menschenverstand means understanding of people. So I bring a healthy understanding of people into organizations. And this seems to be a very rare item, particularly in larger organizations. I started doing Scrum about 5 years ago for software development. And we bring in this healthy understanding of people, these good dialogues, and the organizations become much happier and much more productive. But what often happens, or what almost always happens, is they reach limits and borders, other parts of the organization, maybe to the left, suppliers, or to the right, consumers of the development team, or up into management, and they don't share these values and these principles, and so we run into resistance. And so part of my search to helping my customers do work better and enjoy it more led me to look for more holistic approaches, and I looked at Lean, and I discovered a thing called radical management. And so basically I'm trying to help people do Scrum, do radical management in their organizations and make them healthier, happier places.
Tell us how Stoos factors into that. How did it happen?
Okay, well, as I say, I didn't really start out, although I've been an entrepreneur myself, I didn't really start out doing management consulting, but I found as I went on, when I got started, it was the team leaders asking for help, and now it was C-level management, not necessarily the CEO, but maybe one level down, asking for help, and so I got more into these general management issues. And so I started looking for solutions to that, and one of the solutions that I found was, as I mentioned, radical management, Steve Denning's work, very integrating. And I arranged for Steve, I attended Steve's first radical management gathering in Washington in May now last year, 2011, and I invited him to come to our Lean Agile Scrum conference. And we had a couple of other things going on the side, some speaking opportunities for Steve, and there we met Franz Rösli, who is the leader of the Beyond Budgeting Roundtable, who had attended one of these events, and he came up after us and he said, "Wow, you are, you're talking about the same thing I am, even though I've never heard of all this before." And I had a very similar experience at Steve's gathering, where I met a lot of people doing very similar things to Scrum and Agile, but who I'd never really contacted before. And so this kind of said, oh, there's something bigger happening here. And so we're now at the London Scrum gathering, and Jürgen Appelo, Steve Denning, and I were having dinner, and we said, hey, let's get a diverse group of people together, and see if we have some common ground. And they both kind of nodded and said, oh, yeah, good idea, okay. And so a couple weeks later, I was in Stockholm attending a course with Jürgen, his Management 3.0 course, and I said, hey, Jürgen, I think we should, do this gathering. And Jürgen said, well, in his very Dutch direct manner, he said, I thought this was a very good idea the last time you said this, what, are we going to do it? And we said, oh, do it, when? So we thought about, well, when could we do it? And we came up with two alternatives. One was about 2014, when everybody's calendar is free, or we could try to smuggle it into Christmas, around the Christmas break. And so we said, okay, the last weekend of Christmas break, we're going to give it a try. And so we had some conference calls. We got the four of us involved, and we said, okay, let's do it. And we started inviting people. And when we started out, we weren't really sure if anyone else was going to come. We thought there was a significant risk that the four of us would be skiing this weekend. It was good that that didn't happen, because the weather was not skiing weather, but it was snowy, so we really feel like we're in the mountains. But anyway, people did respond to our call, and we got a group of 21 people, including ourselves. And these 21 people came from, I think the furthest came from South Africa. We had a lot of people from Europe, someone from Israel, someone from, we had one person who really wanted to come from South America, but it didn't quite work out. We had a lot of people who wanted to come, but for scheduling reasons it didn't work out. So we got a lot of encouragement beyond, even from people who couldn't come. And the response was good, and so here we are. It was actually surprisingly easy to organize. The only thing that we had to organize, we had to find a location that would, that would reserve a block of 20 rooms for us. We wanted to be in the mountains, and we wanted to be close to a major airport so people could come, which meant Switzerland was a natural choice because we have an international airport, and Zurich is close to them. So just, doing a ski resort thing seemed like a natural thing to do. And, you know, this idea of bringing a group of people, you know, a diverse group of people, and putting them in a room for, you know, for 2 days, turn up the heat and see what comes out at the, you know, at the end of that, just seemed like an attractive thing to do. And in our preparations, we were very careful not to say what the results should be. We wanted to get the people together. In fact, we weren't even sure if we wanted to have much discussion in a news group beforehand, because news groups are very good for starting debate, but they're not very good for forming a group identity, and building consensus. And so, so we tried to let as much as we possibly could emerge. And as I say, the people came. Coming into the event, we really only prepared the first day. And at the end of the first day, our idea was we're going to hand things over to, we're going to try to lay the foundation and then hand things over to the group. And that's exactly what happened. And the group picked up the ball. And yeah, I think people are going with smiles on their faces back to wherever they came from.